Well, ladies and gentlemen, the talks in Damascus between the President of the Republic and the Special Envoy were held in a positive and constructive atmosphere, with the Syrian side reaffirming Syria's commitment to the implementation of the 6 points plan of Mr. Kofi Annan, as well as on the fact that the success of Mr. Kofi Annan's plan depends greatly on seizing the arming and funding of the armed groups in Syria and the necessity of the presence of an international commitment and an honest political will towards implementing fully the 6 points plan of Mr. Kofi Annan. Both the President of the Republic and the Special Envoy discussed and agreed on a set of mechanisms, effective mechanisms, to alleviate violence in Syria and restore fully the security all over the country. In his briefing to the Council today, the Special Envoy, as well as the Secretary General before him in his report submitted to the Council, both of them did not refer to any necessity of escalating the situation, at least politically speaking, within the Council. Neither the Secretary General nor the Special Envoy mentioned any reference to Chapter 7 or to putting an end to the mission of UNSMIS. Both insisted on the necessity to help the Syrian people, help the Syrian government by implementing the full package of Mr. Kofi Annan's plan, not only by implementing one item or half an item. We have 6 items that should be implemented fully by all the parties. And this has been done and has been said in the Secretary General's report, as well as in Mr. Kofi Annan's briefing. Those who have influence over the parties should use this influence in order to help Mr. Kofi Annan's and the Syrian government implementing the 6 points plan. Without putting an end to the funding and arming of the armed groups in Syria, it will be very difficult to see the plan of Mr. Kofi Annan succeeding on the spot, with the Syrian government's commitment only as supportive of this plan. In the deliberations today in the Council, the briefing of Mr. Kofi Annan was responsible, balanced, up to the mission he is taking, and the deliberations as a whole in the Council during this session of the Council were, mostly speaking, responsible also and touching upon the nerves of the 6 points plan, how to make the efforts of Mr. Kofi Annan succeeding, rather than creating obstacles and impediments on his way towards implementing his plan. So those who jumped immediately on the idea of adopting something under Chapter 7 and making reference to sanctions are not real supportive and genuine supportive of the mission of Mr. Kofi Annan. On the contrary, we think that by raising these 2 issues, meaning Chapter 7 and sanctions, these countries are not helping Mr. Kofi Annan's plan to succeed. However, as far as the Syrian government is concerned, we are fully committed towards the success of Mr. Kofi Annan's plan, but at the same time we are fully warning everybody that the other efforts deployed by here and there, by this country or that country, to derail the 6 points plan of Mr. Kofi Annan from its initial track would be extremely dangerous. I'm in your hands.
Jafari, I wanted to, Ambassador Pankin just said, there has been discussion of this so-called third force. So I wanted to just ask you more. What's your understanding of the size of the operation, or what can you say about it? And also there was this finding that some UAE Swiss-made hand grenades showed up in Syria. You may have seen that Switzerland canceled its deals with the UAE. The UAE said its warehouse was broken into by the Muslim Brotherhood. Do you accept that explanation, or do you now think that the UAE is on the list of countries that is actively supporting opposition inside Syria?
If you go to the report of the Secretary General and you would read paragraph 51, and some other paragraphs also. Paragraph 51 says, the establishment of UNSMIS was facilitated by substantial cooperation on the part of the government of the Syrian Arab Republic, including in the provision of security in and around mission locations. Then, in paragraph 46, the members of the action group have pledged to one another. Here I am reading from the report of the Secretary General, yes. The members of the action group have pledged to one another and to the joint special envoy to apply joint and sustained pressure on the parties in the Syrian Arab Republic to implement the terms of the communiqué, and stated their opposition to any further militarization of the conflict. Then in another paragraph, the Secretary General is saying, paragraph 4, at the end of paragraph 4, during the reporting period, the situation became more complex and deadly with a series of bombings, some of which were indicative of the presence of a third actor. What we were warning from the beginning about the presence of armed groups in Syria fighting the government's forces was denied by some members of the Security Council, as you know, as well as by others who are outside the Council. But now the Secretary General himself acknowledged that there is a third party in fighting in Syria. Washington said that, Britain said that, and others said the same. And now Switzerland acknowledged also that some Swiss grenades and weapons were used in Syria, but exported by Switzerland to United Arab Emirates. This is exactly what we were meaning for months, that those who have influence on the armed groups and those who are funding and arming the armed groups should stop and should further strengthen and support the idea of the national inclusive dialogue among all Syrians and led by the Syrians. This is how we could all help Syria restoring full security and building a new future for all Syrians.
Ambassador, there have been Reports today that your colleague in Baghdad, the Syrian ambassador to Iraq, has resigned in protest. Can you confirm or deny this, and would you comment on it?
I heard that this news were broadcasted by Al Jazeera. This is number one. I don't trust Al Jazeera, neither me nor many Syrians. Second, this issue was not discussed in the council today.
طبعا هناك مأزق كما يبدو بين أعضاء مجلس الأمن، خلاف كبير حول مشروع القرار الروسي. كيف تتصورون الخروج بحل من مجلس الأمن بعد هذا المأزق في الخلاف حول البنود والفقرات؟
بنود وفقرات ماذا؟
الروسي والمشروع أو المواقف المضادة التي قدمتها الدول الغربية.
بطبيعة الحال هناك ضرورة لاعتماد المجلس لمشروع قرار يمدد ولاية بعثة المراقبين الدوليين في سوريا الأنسميس. يعني هذا جزء من العمل الإجرائي الذي يجب أن يقوم به مجلس الأمن بشكل اعتيادي، سواء بالنسبة لبعثة المراقبين في سوريا أو بالنسبة لكل بعثات عمليات حفظ السلام. طبعا بعثة الأنسميس ليست عملية حفظ السلام، لكن في ضمن هذا المجال مجلس الأمن يجتمع دائما، وقبل نهاية ولاية البعثة يصدر قرار يمدد للولاية. فالعمل الإجرائي هو عمل سليم داخل المجلس. الآن الجزء المهم في الموضوع هو تسييس ما هو إجرائي، تسييس البعض داخل أعضاء مجلس الأمن لما هو بطبيعته إجرائي، بمعنى أنهم بدأوا يتحدثون عن تمديد الولاية وهو شأن إجرائي بحت، ولكن تحت البند الفصل السابع، ويتحدثون عن ضرورة دمج التمديد بمسألة العقوبات. إذن هناك رغبة بتسييس ما هو إجرائي من ناحية المبدأ. ثانيا، المشروع القرار الروسي مشروع يتعامل مع تمديد ولاية بعثة الأنسميس في ضوء تقرير الأمين العام وفي ضوء مواقف المبعوث الخاص الأممي كوفي عنان، وليس في ضوء مصالح ضيقة لهذه الدولة أو تلك. بمعنى آخر أن المشروع القرار الروسي مشروع موضوعي، لأنه يتعامل مع المسألة من ناحية إجرائية وفقا للإجراء المتبع داخل مجلس الأمن. هناك خلافات بين الوفود، هذا شأن طبيعي في كل المداولات والمناقشات التي تجري بين الدول الأعضاء في المجلس. لكن مرة ثانية ما هو مهم في المسألة هو الحفاظ على نزاهة المسار، مساعدة المبعوث الأممي الخاص كوفي عنان على تطبيق خطته ذات النقاط الست، وليس حرف وأخراج مسار مشروع النقاط الست عن اتجاهه الأساسي من خلال فتح ثغرات جديدة في بنيان هذا المشروع خدمة لأجندات لا تخدم السوريين لا من قريب ولا من بعيد، ولا تعيد الأمن والأمان للسوريين بمجملهم.
Fighter was killed in Syria, and today the Syrian opposition admitted this fact. How do you see the role of Libya in the ongoing crisis in Syria, and in general the role of foreign fighters, jihadis in Syria?
I have conveyed on behalf of my government to the Security Council as well as to the Secretary General and other high-level officials in the UN. So far, 141 letters and note verbals on the presence of armed groups and the violations by these armed groups of Mr. Kofi Annan's plan. In some of these documents, which are published as official documents of the United Nations, as you know, we have shed light on the presence of terrorists coming from some Arab countries, such as Libya, Tunisia, some of them from United Arab Emirates, some of them from Saudi Arabia, etc., some Kuwaitis, who perpetrated crimes and terrorist acts in Syria. Besides, I forwarded to the Security Council a list of 26 names of these terrorists who are not Syrians. So this is not there is no ambiguity anymore whatsoever with regard the presence of mercenaries paid for by some countries who have influence on these armed groups in the area and outside. This should be addressed drastically and with the sense of high responsibility by the members of the Council. This is an integral part of the Security Council's work on combating terrorism. Yes.
سعادة السفير شكرا. كنت تقرأ من تقرير الأخير للأمين العام للأمم المتحدة الذي قال في هذا التقرير أن جوهر المشكلة في سوريا داخلي، يعترف أن هناك أطراف خارجية تساعد أو ترسل مقاتلين أو تسلح أو إلى آخره، ولكن صلب المشكلة وجوهر المشكلة سوري بالأساس. هل تعترفون بأن المشكلة سورية قبل أن تكون سورية إقليمية أو مع أي دولة أخرى؟
جانب من الأزمة في سوريا هو داخلي طبعا بطبيعة الحال، جانب من الأزمة، ولذلك مجلس الأمن في قراره 2043 ومشروع كوفي عنان ذي النقاط الست أصرا على أن يكون حل المسألة سوري بين السوريين وبقيادة سورية. هذا هو جوهر الموضوع الذي تتحدث عنه. الآن لو تركت المسألة منذ البداية لهذا البعد السوري كي يتم هناك تحاور داخل سوريا بين شرائح الشعب السوري للوصول إلى حل سياسي توافقي، لكنا انتهينا منذ زمن بعيد. لكن التقرير نفسه الذي تشير إليه ذكر أن هناك عناصر أخرى من خارج سوريا تقوم بأعمال مسلحة داخل سوريا، وذكر أن هناك دول لديها تأثير على تلك المجموعات المسلحة، وهناك بطبيعة الحال إقرار مما يسمى المجتمع الدولي كما قلت قبل قليل باللغة الإنجليزية في واشنطن وباريس وألمانيا وأسبانيا وإيطاليا وكل ما تريد، اعترف بوجود عناصر من القاعدة في سوريا. إذن هناك بعد إرهابي مسلح موجود في سوريا تتحكم بحركته عناصر من خارج سوريا. هذا البعد لا علاقة له بالشعب السوري والحكومة السورية بيرسي بحد ذاتها. هذا النقطة الأولى. النقطة الثانية، 99.99% من الشعب السوري هم ضد الفساد. الأغلبية الساحقة من الشعب السوري هم ضد الفساد. إذا كانت المسألة في سوريا هي مكافحة الفساد فالسوريون كلهم ضد الفساد، باستثناء اللهم شريحة صغيرة جدا يجب أن تساءل وتحاسب. المعارضة السياسية لا تعني أبدا أن تدفع البلد نحو الانتحار الجماعي وتدمر كل مكتسبات الشعب السوري منذ عهد الاستقلال. المعارضة يجب أن تكون وطنية ومسؤولة، عندها حس المسؤولية. المعارضة شيء ضروري وشرعي ومطلوب لبناء سوريا المستقبل من قبل كل السوريين، بشرط أن تكون وطنية ونزيهة ودوافعها ضد التدخل الأجنبي وعدم استقدام الدم إلى سوريا وتخريب المنشآت والبنية التحتية. يجب أن يكون هناك شيء من التوازن في مقاربتنا لما يجري في سوريا من ضمن هذا المنظور. المعارضة يجب أن تكون موجودة، يجب أن تكون وطنية، يجب أن تسعى بكل ما أوتيت من قوة للمشاركة في العملية السياسية والحوار السياسي من أجل بناء سوريا ليس فقط للمعارضة ولكن لكل السوريين. كل السوريين معنيين بضرورة إعادة بناء سوريا على أسس سليمة إصلاحية تلبي مطالب الشعب السوري وتنسجم أيضا مع مقترحات الإصلاح التي بدأت قبل تقريبا عام في سوريا، والمسار واعد، لكن علينا أن نتحرك كسياسيين وليس كإرهابيين. Yes, Matthew.
A very specific question is, Ambassador Wittig of Germany said this was a good occasion to thank General Mood for his service, and some are saying that he may actually set sail at the end of the time. Have you heard that, and what do you think of General Mood's time? And also, what do you think of the idea of a rollover of 45 days? As some have suggested it as a way to sort of put pressure on the government and on the opposition, I guess, to act better or the mission would leave. Do you think it's productive to do 45 days or 90 days? What's your preference?
It would be preferable for the credibility of the mission to extend the mandate for 90 days, according to the provisions of 2043, Resolution 2043. However, it's up to the Council to decide. This matter is usually being discussed among the members of the Council, and it's up to them to decide on the final shape or the final recalibration of the mission. General Mood is a professional general. He is fulfilling his tasks and mission in a very appropriate and correct way. He enjoys the trust of too many people within Syria and outside Syria. So we have no objection towards the way General Mood is conducting his business. I don't want him to praise him more because I fear that by doing so he would find himself out of the head. I mean, at the head of this mission. Our assessment of General Mood's work is rather positive. With regard what the German ambassador said, we also would like to see Germany involved, positively speaking, in the efforts aiming to seizing the violence and restoring fully the security in the country. Germany has had contradictory approaches towards the affairs in the area. Germany cannot help Syria towards finding out a peaceful solution towards its internal crisis by instigating and escalating the situation in the area through providing Israel with 6 submarines sophisticated, capable of carrying nuclear weapons. So responsibility should not be divided. Either you are responsible or you are not responsible. Responsibility should be should apply to all scenarios and all situations without any selectivity. Thank you very much.
Ambassador,
Yes,
you and your government are under such incredible pressure on the international stage and militarily to give up power. How do you intend to hold on to power in the weeks ahead? And also, should history show that you end up losing power, what would be the face of Syria that frightens you, I suppose?
Being in power or being ousted from power is an internal matter up to the Syrian people. It is up to the French people. It's up to the Spanish people. It's up to the Brazilian people to decide their own future. Power in any member states in this international organization is a matter of final decision of it is in the hands of the people. It's not in the hands of foreigners and foreign powers. This is why the Charter of the United Nations insisted since 1945 on the sacrosanct principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence. Nobody should interfere in domestic affairs of others. That is a violation of the Charter. This is the ABCD in the multilateral relationship system. Thank you very much.
About the Russian talks in Moscow with the opposition, what is your take on that? Do you think the Russians are meeting the right people in Moscow?
This is part of the efforts.
Yes, but do you think the people that are there in Moscow, you think that somebody's missing or they are the people that should be there?
We don't interfere in the way the Russians make their own business. It's up to them. If they think that would be useful, why not? If they think this is not useful, why not? Thank you.